スタジオファンク
Man, great tracks right there. E-Life, man, your production is killer, I tell you.
Hey.
I think I have too many favorites of your stuff. Like I was like browsing Discogs and like going through the list, and especially when I'm going through the list and I can see the little green dots everywhere to indicate which ones I have as well. There's a lot of green dots, by the way, a lot of green dots. But one of the notorious ones I like to say, and I think a lot of people will definitely give a big nod towards, is your latest project, Boogie For Life, that was released earlier this year.
Hey, well, you know what? I'm proud of that. It's a solid release. You know, I've got round 2 coming right now, so happy to give it its glory. It was a little bit of a it kind of came out by accident, you know. As far as the first EP, it was a little accidental because I put up the tracks all up on SoundCloud for free.
What?
And which I do all the time. And then the only thing that really connected them was their art. They all kind of had a little. They're all in the same kind of emphasis, using the same stuff. You know, if you got a boogie kit, it's not just necessarily like a looping drums. You've got a whole live kit, toms, crashes, rides, snares, hi-hats, kicks. You've got a bass, varying bass guitars in there. Always a little bit of electric guitar. The primary focus to me is like a little bit of Fender Rhodes and some lead synths.
Okay.
And kind of like a lush pad vibe. But I got, my friend hooked me up with the art, and what connected them was that art. But I really owe it to Tim for putting it together and seeing the larger vision, as far as it being an EP.
Yeah, man. The album is just clean, and there's something about it. I think it's one of the things that's going to be, people are going to look back. You can imagine like in the future, like 15 years time, you know, there are going to be people out there going to be like record digging and they're going to be like, yo man, you ever heard this EP before? Like, listen to it. People are going to be like, man, this guy was on some stuff back then.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's funny you say that, because where it was heading in the direction of is what I really, the concept that I'm always fantasizing about is to be able to recreate what somebody maybe in hip hop or in, you know, one of these future genres will pick that out of the record bin and then remix and find it as perfect new content for remixing. That's always my fantasy.
Yeah, I definitely, I totally understand that vision right there. As a person who myself was brought up on hip hop, and just knowing that work rate, what producers were doing with just sampling. But yeah, man, who knows? It's just one of those things. I do think, you know, at some point, music that's coming out nowadays, like in modern day, at some point, they are going to be referred to as classics, or referred to as people find those sources of digging in the crates. Yeah,
and I like the way you say that. For me, the way that I always stay hyped on music is I've always got to be about that next thing. Mm-hmm. So, stepping back and taking a little time to look at what has already been created is something that it takes an outside force, someone asking me about it, and I appreciate that, because a lot of my mentors are always pushing for whatever is next for them.
Yeah. Well, I totally understand that. I totally hear that. And I just want to ask you then, like, what are your favorites from the album? I know that's going to be like a weird question to ask you, because obviously you made it yourself, and you probably don't have a favorite on there, or maybe you do.
Boogie For Life really stood out, even though it's the name of it. It's got a little bit of an up-tempo vibe with a driving guitar, and then the piano, like I say, Earth, Wind and Fire piano, which kind of sits behind it. What I like is some kind of speedy guitar on top and a nice kind of peaceful piano behind. That's a real nice overlay for me. So that really kind of represents that style that I tried to create. I'm trying to think of the tune that that I was thinking of. A lot of times I'll think of like a classic tune and then it'll kind of come out. That one really represents just kind of that playful up-tempo vibe that's not always easy for me to get. It's for whatever reason, I'm getting closer and closer. But you find yourself when you have that mid-tempo range, you can get in a lot of tom rolls, you can get in a lot of breaks, you can get in a lot of changes. As you start speeding up, you wonder, why do I even need a change? This is just about moving your body.
Man, all wise words right there. All wise words. Yeah, so what we're going to do, we're going to get into that track right now. And this is a good track. It's probably one of my favorites as well, but then again, I feel like every track is a favorite for me because I can let the project just play all the way through. And I'm probably going to have to try to restrict myself not to just go on a frenzy right now and just play the whole EP. But yeah, we'll get into that right now. Let's get into Boogie For Life.